The fluoride, just fluoride in the water, fluoride does not decrease cavities. It doesn't. It's been shown not to decrease cavities. This is a way, fluoride is a byproduct of aluminum production. It was put in the water to get rid of this byproduct that they would have to pay to get rid of otherwise. So they put it in the water and they propagandize the people to think that it's good for you and that it will help you, but it doesn't help you. And you know, when fluoride was first put in the water, every dental association in America was against it. Mm-hmm. But they infiltrated the dental associations, and now the dentists all think it's a good thing. They have been brainwashed to believe that this is okay. If you look at your toothpaste tube, if you look at that, there's a warning on it, a death warning on the tube. Nobody ever looks at it. It's a death warning that says if a child swallows the amount of toothpaste that is on the brush that they brush their teeth with, they can die. Children have died from that. Children have died in the dental chair having fluoride put on their teeth. Okay? But this is never made public because they want people to drink fluoride in their water, have it in their toothpaste, because guess what it does? It dumbs down the population so they're not able to think as well. They don't care as much what happens to them. Their rights are all being taken away, and they're all in a zombie state.
Right.
Give them all their sports, give them their beer. The beer is made with fluoridated water.
Right.
Okay? So people are taking in huge amounts of fluoride, and now they're even increasing the amount of fluoride that they say is acceptable. The original one part per million was not acceptable. Now it's up to, I don't know, 5 or something else parts per million, which is deadly. Something that easy. It is mass medication of the public. And it's done to dumb down the public, as if, you know, the public schools weren't bad enough.
Right.
So, so that's another way that they're causing population control. They have planned famines. You've heard about, you know, the growing areas in America are being wiped out, first with floods and then with heat waves. And how are they doing that? They're doing it with weather control.
You're talking HARP and some of these other technologies.
HARP, yeah, all the technologies with the scalar waves. And so they can they can take these wonderfully rich growing areas and turn them into deserts. And then they buy them up. Virtually all the food growing areas in America are owned by 3 companies. One is the ConAgra, the other is Archer Daniels Midland, and there's a third one. And these are all owned by Illuminati people.
Yes.
So they're planning famines. And one reason when you go to the grocery store and they say, well, you know, what's your card number? Can we swipe in your card so you get a good deal on these? They're tracking everything you're eating, so they know what to withhold from you to sign you up for the New World Order.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So I don't use a grocery store card. I figure God will take care of me. I don't want that extra deal. Why are they giving you such a deal with money to suck
when
you
they're
in?
literally robbing you of your
health. That's
and
right.
your mental faculties.
That's right. And so then we've got also weather modification. Katrina was clearly part of weather control.
That was HARP all the way.
Right. That's right. And they could have kept that out. They have the technology to have kept Katrina right offshore.
They can make them and they can deflect
them. That's right. And so that's all part of it. And they can do that with, you know, they say it's an act of God. They bring in the rain, and then they... first they bring in the hot weather, dry it out, then they bring in the flooding, and then the houses slide down the hill. And so they can do all that with weather control. That's part of population control. And then, of course, we have street drugs, and we have medicinal drugs. Now, medicinal drugs kills far more people than street drugs do.
Right.
Street drugs is a small part of deaths. Very, very small part.
Right. And
in fact, the largest cause of death in America is what we call iatrogenic. Iatrogenic is a 2-bit word, which means it's doctor done. Okay? Yeah. So if you look at the complications of surgery, the infections acquired in the hospital, and the deaths from drugs prescribed by doctors, that's the largest group of deaths in America.
Yes.
Okay?
Hands
but
down.
we don't outlaw doctors, do we? We want to outlaw guns, but we don't want to outlaw doctors because doctors kill a lot more people than guns.
They're very effective. In fact,
right.
just as a personal aside, I have a friend who just lost her son who had been in a car accident, and he was recovering nicely, healthy, young, mid-20s, and they gave him some drugs that interacted, and he's dead. And she's devastated. I mean, beyond devastated.
The worst place to be when you're sick is in a hospital, because all of these terrible things can happen. You can get huge numbers of infections in the hospital, and antibiotics will turn out to be the greatest scourge of mankind. Antibiotics, because then people say, well, I can eat, live, and handle stress any way I want, and if I get sick, I'll just go and get an antibiotic, I'll get a quick fix. But the antibiotics have turned on humanity, and there be the organisms, the bugs, the bacteria and viruses are becoming stronger and stronger, because actually bacteria and viruses are our friends.
Right.
They are our friends. God has a cleanup crew at every level. The vultures eat the dead animals in the road to clean up the earth. The maggots eat dead garbage piles, and the insects and the flies come in. And you will notice that the garbage attracts the flies and the maggots, not the other way around. The dead animal in the road attracts the vulture. The vulture does not attract the dead animal. Bacteria and viruses are all around us. And when we, they're all on our skin, they're in our nose, they're in our mouth, and they're in our gastrointestinal tract, and they have a real reason for being there. They help produce vitamin B12. They are good, what we call them is normal flora, and they're good bacteria. But when you take antibiotics, it upsets everything, and your intestine does not work properly, and you have overgrowth of bad bacteria or fungi or something like that. And so when your cells are sick and dying, these bacteria that are in the environment move in to clean up the dead material. But when they clean up the dead material in your body and throw the toxins into your bloodstream, you may get a fever or a runny nose, and then you are uncomfortable. So you go to the doctor. And guess what the doctor does? Oh, we've got to stop these. We've got to kill these bacteria, so we'll give you antibiotics. Well, the whole point is your body is full of garbage, and the bacteria and viruses were cleaning up your body, and now you've killed them. It's sort of like killing the ambulance attendant who is trying to put you into the ambulance to take you to the hospital after you've been run over by a car.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. This man is injured. There's this man, other man in a white coat is near him. He must have done it, so let's kill him.
Right.
And that's what antibiotics are all about. If you look at the word anti, bio means life. These are anti-life.
Yeah.
And they harm us. And the reason that people don't eat, live, and handle stress properly is they don't want to. Because now there's a quick fix with antibiotics. But the good news is the antibiotics are soon going to be useless, and they're doing more harm than good. People will have to start getting back to living, eating, and handling stress, as I learned how to do to get well from my cancer.
Right. Naturally.
Naturally, without drugs, no chemo, no radiation, no mutilated
The earth
surgery.
produces everything we need, the soul and so
That's
forth.
right.
All these forces are there to help us.
The plan to get well from every disease is totally free except for food, and you have to buy that anyway, or you can grow your own.
Right.
So there are all these ways that people are being killed, and all these vaccines are doing terrible things to these young bodies.